I've always said I'm kind of the Forrest Gump or the accidental tourist of New Jersey when it comes to my career. I was a trial lawyer. One of my law school professors became the governor of New Jersey, Governor Jim Florio. I went to work for him in the governor's office for a while. Ended up being the deputy director of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. The director said, hey, we're going to put you in charge of the real estate program, and went on from there. After my stint with the state, I was going back to practice law, and the gentleman who had been the chairman of the board of the EDA had taken over National State Bank, which became Constellation Bank, and he said, you know, there's this thing DEVCO in New Brunswick. Why don't we try to fix it? And then you can go practice law later. And I said, I went home and told my wife I was going to do it for a year. We had $100,000 in the bank at the time, and we had $6 million of unsecured debt. 30 years later, we have in the ground today almost nearly $3 billion worth of projects and about 1 million square feet. So it became a little bit of an addiction and a little bit of an accident. You know, never took a real estate course, never took a business course. I was a history major. I went to law school, but I ended up becoming a not-for-profit real estate developer. We had an opportunity in New Brunswick, 4 acres across from the New Brunswick train station. There had been an old municipal parking garage. Back in the 70s, the idea of economic development kind of hinged on building a parking garage next to a train station with the hope that people from the suburbs would run across the street in the morning and the afternoon and create some activity. It was time to develop that space. Working with the mayor, we thought about a lot of different options. There were groups of people who wanted to build an arena. I was pretty steadfast in believing that we didn't need any more tractor pulls or minor league hockey in New Jersey. We worked with BlackRock for a while. They ended up laying people off instead of building a new facility. And then there really was this kind of epiphany. There was this kind of revelation. It happened one day in a Starbucks. I was sitting talking to a young MD, PhD, who had a research lab in New Brunswick. She also saw patients in New Brunswick, downtown. But she said when she and her colleagues were doing a startup, they had to get in their car and drive 25 minutes to a bad laboratory in a flex space somewhere off the highway. She said what she really needed was to be able to go from one to the other, cross the street, be able to, you know, not lose any time, go to her academic lab in the morning, see patients, and then go to her startup in the afternoon without having to move her car. And that was really the beginning. Marissa Butchney and I started to do the grand tour. We went to Raleigh, North Carolina, to the Research Triangle. We went to Kendall Square and went to Lab Central and Cambridge Innovation. Went to Philadelphia to University Science and to Pennovation, and started to understand the value of nurturing, creating opportunities for startups in life sciences that become larger companies. Look, New Jersey has always been known as the medicine chest of the world. Somewhere we took a wrong turn and we stopped doing research and development in New Jersey. The big pharmaceutical companies that are headquartered here started doing R&D in places like Massachusetts and California and San Diego and Palo Alto. So we thought we could create that environment because we had the component pieces of an ecosystem that would support it. We had major universities, research universities, Rutgers, Princeton, NJIT. We had large pharma and biotech. We had headquarters across the street, Johnson & Johnson's world headquarters. We had a willing government at the state level, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, the Middlesex County, and the city. And we had one of the most densely populated states with more PhDs and engineers than anywhere else in the country. So we embarked on trying to find the best pieces of what we found in places like Massachusetts and North Carolina and California and cobble together our own story. You know, what we were able to do with the HELIX, and the first building of the HELIX in particular, is that we were able to put translational research for Rutgers, 80 new principal investigators, 600 lab benches, a vector lab, a vivarium, a brand new state-of-the-art medical school facility, and an incubator project all in one building. So far, I still haven't seen anywhere in the country where that's been done in one place. Sometimes they're across the street from each other, but we've been able to put them in one place. And then, the next step was, and I'm not sure if I'd rather be lucky than good or it's proof of concept. Bell Labs, which is now currently owned by Nokia, that's been in Murray Hill, New Jersey for 85 years, said, you know what, we want to be in that ecosystem. We want to be able to hire from those universities. We want to be able to engage with people doing research in life science and other types of engineering. So that became our second building. Well, I think in a very short years, we're going to have a thriving ecosystem within the ecosystem. Remember, New Jersey has a pretty big life science ecosystem and a technology ecosystem unto itself. We're going to consolidate that and focus that on 4 acres in downtown New Brunswick. Once that's humming, what I really think is, the true success story is that we're going to have that life science startup that started in a lab at Rutgers or at Princeton. It migrated to the New Jersey Innovation Hub that's powered by Portal Innovations. They graduated to 5,000 or 10,000 square feet on the 10th floor above them. And then, I know we're successful when I'm trying to find 50 and 100,000 square feet for those companies to move, to go into production, commercial production, to really, hire a lot of folks and really drive not only the New Brunswick, the Middlesex County, and the state, but the regional economy. Look, we did our homework. We went and talked to everyone in the business. We had people give us proposals. We had everybody come in and do interviews. Portal Innovation really came to the top of the list because of 2 things. A lot of people run incubators. What Portal really brought, and maybe it's 3 things. Number 1, they have a real track record in working with major research universities throughout the country. University of Chicago, Brown, Baylor, Texas A&M, University of Texas, Emory, Georgia Tech, Northeastern. That was critical. We really needed somebody who understood the academic culture and was going to be able to help Rutgers and Princeton really capitalize on their science. Number 2, started off as a venture company. They knew how to raise capital for startup companies. They knew how to invest capital in startup companies, and they knew how to go find other people to invest in those companies. So those were the first 2 reasons. The second thing is that they really do bring a culture that was going to kind of drive our ecosystem. A lot of mentoring and educational programs and trying to get people to really understand the collaborative culture. We can do that physically. And we hope we've done that. We're creating, great meeting spaces. We're creating great places for people to eat, a bar for happy hour, a coffee bar, great places to be outside. We want creative collisions to occur. Portal really does kind of wrap that in a nice program and brings people to the table, to the lab bench, to the bar, to get people to talk and to share and to collaborate. Because of the type of work we do, I think we find ourselves as being disruptors. And we have changed and challenged a lot of ways that people have done business. Fortunately, we had a state administration that in the earliest days of our discussions put this kind of on the front burner. What we have found is that all of those people who are skeptical, who may have been cynical, who said, this is not the way we always have done it, have all rallied to the cause. And some of the folks who looked at us with a bit of jaundiced eyes 5 or 6 years ago are now our biggest supporters. Not necessarily our biggest supporters, those that we collaborate with most with and actually have taken leadership in the program. Without the state of New Jersey, we wouldn't be where we are today. The first HELIX building received $250 million of the $800 million project. The first building, we received $250 million of American Rescue Plan money that helped us build a lot of the infrastructure that we needed to. We also were in receipt of $250 million of New Jersey Aspire tax credits, which we sold to Citibank. So, the state was about $500 million of the $800 million that got this thing really going. Of course, Rutgers University is the major tenant, and they're another entity of the state. And Middlesex County has played a huge role in actually providing us credit support. New Brunswick has done everything that it does so well. I love going to places and them talking about regulatory problems and people being able to get permitting. The HELIX building, $800 million, 565,000 square feet, received its planning board approval in 55 minutes. The city of New Brunswick sold us the property, which they had owned when it had been the former parking garage. So we have had nothing but not just support, but enthusiastic leadership from all levels of government. New Jersey has a long history of innovation. We could talk about Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison, finished his little light bulb project and his building the first film studio 12 miles from here. Sarnoff, just down the highway, Waxman, Albert Einstein spent a lot of time here. This is part of our DNA, and we're just doing our part. We're doing our part. We're taking, the DNA of those people who changed the world, and hopefully, taking it to the next level.